I'd like to compare this car and the way that it drives to the 335. And having owned both and lived with both, I feel like um, I have a good basis of experience in which I can speak about the driving dynamics of the two cars. In many ways, the 335 and the 328i are basically the same car. I mean, just in terms of the interior features, the feel of the car. I mean, frankly, the biggest difference is in the way that the car produces power. Now, the 335i is going to be a faster car. It's particularly in a straight line. It's got more torque, and not only does it have more torque, but more of that torque is situated at lower RPMs, right? In the N52, it was at 1200 RPM, you had 300 foot-pound of torque. In the N54, I think it was at 1600 RPM where you had 300 foot-pound of torque. With this particular car, which has 200 foot-pound of torque, so it's got a lot less torque, and also that torque comes in at 2700 RPM. So if you're trying to, drag race somebody from a traffic light or off the 335 is going to feel like a much faster car because it is a much faster car. I mean, it's going to have that sensation of just pushing you back in your seat when you hit the throttle. The 328i doesn't have that. But I think you also have to drive the 328i a little bit differently than you do a 335 because your torque, you get your torque higher up in the RPM range. This car and this particular engine loves to be revved, right? So if you want, this car can actually go pretty quickly once you get into the high RPM range. And when you mate that to a 6-speed manual transmission, where you can just, be in full control over the gears, it can be very fun. And in fact, in many ways, it kind of makes it more engaging because you don't have that instant power when you're driving the car. You don't just smash the throttle and go. You have to work for it, right? You have to work for it. You have to keep the gears for a longer period of time until that rev counter builds up, and then it just goes. Like once you get over 3,500 RPM, this car will move. So the 335i is definitely a faster car, but it's that's not to say that the 328i is a slow car. And with the 328i, if you want to go quickly, you really have to rev the engine. And in many ways, I feel like that makes the car a more engaging driving experience. Contrast that, with the 335i, where you're pretty much going quickly instantly, and you don't need to, it is what it is. In terms of handling and balance, the 335i is a heavier car. It's about 250 pounds heavier than a 328i. And on top of that, a lot of that weight is up front. So the 328i actually has a better weight distribution than the 335i does. And I can tell you that that's noticeable when you're going on back roads. That 328i is just a little bit better balanced, more neutral. It doesn't feel as nose heavy as the 335i does. That's been my experience, having driven both types of cars on the same type of roads, so the same type of back roads, for years. And in many ways, when you're driving on the back roads, the 335i feels like a car like a point and shoot car. You're not going to take the corner as fast, but once you've sort of cleared the corner, or you've got all that torque down low, got that horsepower, you just smash the throttle and it kind of pulls you out of it. The 328i is a little bit different. It kind of feels more like a, like a, I don't know, like a running back. You can kind of, go left to right a little bit more easily than a 335i can. And then finally, just in terms of reliability, BMWs have kind of had a bad reputation for reliability, but I can tell you that all of these cars have been great for me. I really haven't had to do any major repair work on any of these cars. I mean, the 335 was almost a brand new car when I bought it, so it wasn't that one wouldn't expect to have to do a lot. But for the time that I owned it, it worked without any problems. The same thing with the 328s that I've had. Both of them were very reliable vehicles. I mean, you have to do some maintenance items on them, but nothing nothing unusual. So I think so long as you stay on top of the regular maintenance, you take care of these cars, it's they're gonna treat you right. All right, guys. So that's my review of the 328i. Sorry for some of the camera work. Some of these arms that I was using were not. I guess I need to work a little bit on this. My first video, so we'll get better with that as time goes on. And appreciate your watching. If you like what you see, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and there's going to be a lot more content coming your way. All right, thanks, guys.